Hi, welcome to Art Classes for Children and Beginners. I am Patricia Allingham Carlson, and today I'm working with a new medium, charcoal. Get ready to get messy. Charcoal is a wonderful medium, and I'm going to show you some ways to use it to draw the human face. I hope you liked the lesson, and I hope you get something out of it and learn something. Now let's draw. Hi, welcome back to Art Classes for Children and Beginners. Today I am working with charcoal. I'm going to show you some ways to use charcoal. I'm going to show you some ways not to use charcoal. And then perhaps we'll work on some people's faces more using charcoal as a medium. Now what I really like about charcoal is it makes a wonderful, very dark mark. It's very easy to smear it and blend it. And you can get some special effects with charcoal. You will need an eraser because if you mess up or it smears all over the place, which is the problem with charcoal, you need to be able to erase it. And charcoal will erase to a large degree, especially if it's applied lightly. If you apply it heavy, it's going to be harder to erase. So keep it in mind. Charcoal gets out of control quickly. It will get all over your hands. It will get all over your clothing. It will get all over your paper. But oh boy, it sure is fun to draw with. So let's get started with some demonstrating, and I'll show you what I mean. If you do a little bit of charcoal and you give it a little brush, do you see how immediately it has smeared? Charcoal smears very easily. You want to use this to your advantage. You don't want to mess up with it, so keep it in mind. It's going to smear and it's going to get all over your hands. So it can be helpful to have a damp paper towel if you want to keep the charcoal under control. So that's a good thing to have on hand. In using charcoal, the main idea to start with is start light. If you start light, you can erase mistakes easily. If you start heavy, then you're stuck and you're not going to be able to erase mistakes quite as easily. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's do just an eye, a person's eye. Do you remember that fish shape we talked about? I'm starting fairly light. I'm going to draw the parts of the eye, the inner eye, where the little folds are and your teardrops can collect, the rounded part of the eye, the colored part called the iris, the pupil of the eye. I'm going to plan ahead and make a little area of light where I'm going to try to keep it white. The eyelid, a little fold under the eye, and the eyebrow. And you might say to me, where's the eyelashes? I will put them on later. They're a little easier to control if they go on last. We talk about shading and charcoal, shading in faces and features. We've discussed how the eyeball is a ball. Now a ball will stick out more in the center and less on the sides where it goes in. So the first place I'll shade a little bit will be on the inner corners of the eye. I'm trying to keep the white of the eye white. Next I'll come along the top lid area of the eye because your eyelashes will cast a shadow on the underneath part of your eye. I'll also do a little blending here, and I'll blend out the eyelid. Now I can come in with my charcoal and slowly color in the iris. I'm doing it in a special way, almost like rays of the sun coming outward from the pupil in the center. The reason I'm doing it that way is because when I look in the mirror closely at my own eyes, it seems like the colors and lines run like the sun's rays outward from the middle. Yours might be different, but that's how mine look. I'm going to color in the pupil, and I'm going to leave that one little area of light because the shine on the eye can show that there is moisture there, and the person or animal or whoever's eye you're drawing looks sort of more alive that way. Another thing I've noticed is many people have a darker area around the edge of their iris. Do you see how carefully I'm blending this? If I blended it real quick and didn't take a lot of care, the charcoal would smear all over the paper. So I am being careful here. I'm going to take my eraser and erase a little bit of the middle of the iris, because sometimes when eyes have light going into them, it appears that they're lit up a little bit from the inside, and it makes them look more real again. I'm going to take a dry paper towel and dust off the extra, and then I'm going to clean up the whites of the eyes a little bit. I'm going to clean up where I just smeared it here. I'm going to clean up around the iris, the colored part of the eye. And let's try a paintbrush to brush away the extra. And that worked pretty well. This is a dry paintbrush. Now I'm going to add the eyelashes last. If you like long eyelashes, that's fine. If you make them all perfect and symmetrical, they won't look quite as natural, but they certainly can be put on any way that you want. I usually make the bottom lashes to be much thinner and shorter, and not as many of them. And there's my eye, done in charcoal, and I kept it under control mostly. It takes some practice to do that, believe me. Now let's take charcoal over and do a face. Here's a person I can try to draw. Taking my charcoal and very lightly doing a sketch. Again, I want to keep it light. If I make it very dark, then it's possible I'm going to make a mistake and it won't erase easily. I'm going to come halfway down his face and make a note with a pencil, which is much easier to erase, where his eyes are, where his nose will fall, and where his mouth is. You notice that his ears look higher than his eyebrows. And the reason for that is he is turning his head down. When your head goes down, then the back of your head goes up, and so your ears would appear to be higher too. So, let's put his brows on. And in this case, we noticed his ears look a little higher. So I've made the marks I need to. Now I can come in with my charcoal. If you'd like to sketch his whole face with the pencil first and then use the charcoal on top, that's fine too. The main thing is to sketch lightly. Because you can then erase easily. And if you sketch lightly, you can always make it darker later. The eyebrows. In for the nose, outward for the bottom. Now again, because this man is looking down, we don't see the nostril holes. They are going downward, and they're covered by his skin. So we don't need to draw them because we don't see them. Now I can see I've made the chin too short to come and complete his face. So because I've made my charcoal white, I can erase it and make his chin a little longer. Once I've gotten his face basically drawn, then I can start to get a little darker. I'm marking in where his irises are. And if you look at his face, you'll notice one side of his face has more light shining on it, so it's lighter. The other side of his face has more shadows on it, so it's darker. His skin is all the same color, but the light shining on him is different on different sides. So if you use your charcoal to do the shading and show this light, it's going to make an interesting and more realistic picture. We'll get to that in just a minute. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something from it. Please give it a like and a thumbs up and subscribe in the links below so you don't miss any lessons coming up. There are also links to the places where I buy my supplies from, including most of my scholastic supplies from blick.com. More links lead to my Facebook page and my blog on art and life. I'll see you next video.